Mike in the Woods here. Prepping, to most people, brings up the mental image of a redneck conspiracy theorist stereotype. Thanks, Hollywood. Today, we're going to clear up that stereotype and explain why it's super important that everyone is prepared in case of emergency. A little bit of time and money spent preparing can literally be the difference between life and death. And real quick, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you find this video helpful, hit the like button, leave any questions you have down below, and let's get started. First, let's define exactly what prepping means so that we're all on the same page. As a simple mission statement, prepping is this: hoping for the best while preparing for the worst. A common and incorrect assumption is that preppers expect the world is going to end or that some major catastrophe is going to happen. This isn't the case. We simply acknowledge that the chances of something catastrophic happening are above 0%. Just look at our recent viral health crisis as a prime example of something that can explode onto the world stage out of nowhere, wreaking havoc economically and biologically. Whatever your views on the matter are, I'm sure we can all agree that it's had a severe negative impact to most people. The idea is to take steps to make sure you have the supplies, skills, and knowledge you might need in case of emergency. And believe it or not, you're probably already a prepper in some capacity. Do you have a savings account with a few months worth of expenses? Congratulations, you've been prepping for a job loss scenario. Prepping as a philosophy is taking this idea and expanding it to a wide range of potential situations. So, what do you prep for? I'm sure we can both agree that it's impossible to be prepared for anything and everything. You need to consider what emergencies have a reasonable chance of affecting you in your specific circumstance. For example, for most people, they wouldn't need to worry about a nuclear power plant, but I happen to live sandwiched between two of them. I woke up to this one morning, which was certainly a wake-up call. If you live near the ocean, maybe you have to worry about hurricanes. People in the prairies might have to worry about tornadoes. Those on a fault line have to worry about earthquakes, so on and so forth. Then there's globally applicable scenarios too. Pandemics, war, economic downturns, and global warming are just some of the possibilities you can consider. Let's talk about bugging in and bugging out. I'm sure you've heard one or more of the terms before. Bugging in refers to setting up shop in an emergency situation inside of your own home. Depending on the circumstance, such as a hurricane or if armed conflicts break out, staying in your home might not be the best idea, forcing you to evacuate either voluntarily or being forced to. The term in this circumstance is referred to bugging out, which is an evacuation process done in a prepared and planned manner. Generally, when you bug out, you have a bag of essential gear with you to help you get to your destination, which is referred to as a bug out bag. I'll leave a link in the description below where I go more in depth on bug out bags. 99.9% of the time, bugging in is your best option. You know the area, you know where resources are, you know your neighbors, and you know local dangers. In general, you only really want to bug out to a secondary location if you're absolutely sure that staying in place is a far more dangerous option. Okay, so let's talk about what to prep. There's three aspects, in my opinion, to preparedness. There's supplies, there's skills, and there's knowledge. I like to divide emergency preparedness into 6 main categories. The first one is food and water, and this is the most obvious one and the one everyone generally thinks about first. As you'd imagine, you want to have a stockpile of food and water to last you throughout the duration of an emergency. Depending on the event, your water lines or power grid might be down. Also remember that you don't just need water for drinking and cooking, you also need it for hygiene. Also consider having tools to secure extra water and food in the event that your supply runs out, such as water filters and some simple but effective traps. The second one is self-defense, and this is a controversial one. Some people think they need massive stockpiles of firearms, some people just keep a single 22 Henry survival rifle, and others just simply reject self-defense tools entirely. Ultimately, this is a personal choice, and I just encourage you to think about it critically as to whether or not you should have something in your inventory to defend your family and property. No judgment here. The third one is shelter. The obvious answer here is your home, whether you live in an apartment in a dense urban city or in a farmhouse out in the middle of the countryside. However, you also have to think about it one level deeper. Do you have a basement in the event of a hurricane or tornado? How strong is the construction of your home compared to potential environmental emergencies it might face? Additionally, consider that in some circumstances, staying in your home might not be the best idea and you have to evacuate. Do you have a good tent or tarp shelter for a bug out scenario? Or maybe it's your vehicle itself. Number 4, transportation. If you have to evacuate in an emergency situation, or you choose to shelter in place and making any forays outside of your home is dangerous, how will your vehicle stand up to the situation? Most modern vehicles, while excellent for their intended purpose, are not meant to deal with the punishment dealt by crazy emergency circumstances. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and get a crazy vehicle like I did. I put a reservation down on the Tesla Cybertruck. Just make sure you think about the limitations of your vehicles in these scenarios. And a bonus tip, in emergency circumstances where traffic is in gridlock, things like bicycles are hugely underrated. Number 5, fitness. This is, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked aspects of emergency preparedness. I myself have been neglectful in this department, although I've been rectifying the situation lately. When the chips are down and you need to hike to a bug-out location or deal with the extreme physical stress of an emergency, is your body ready? I'm not judging people who are overweight, but in an emergency circumstance, even being moderately fit will have a huge boost to your ability to weather the storm. And number 6, skills and knowledge. Much like fitness, having skills and knowledge to deal with emergencies will give you a leg up on others who do not. Do you know multiple ways to start a fire? Do you know how basic first aid works? Do you know what plants are edible and which ones are not? Do you know how to navigate without a compass? Think about what skills and knowledge would be useful to you in the event of an emergency and do your best to pick up on them. Even right here on YouTube is an excellent resource to learn a great many things. Well, that was a brief and hopefully informative introduction to emergency preparedness. Nowhere near in-depth, but enough of an overview to introduce you to the core concepts and to give you what you need to pursue the idea further. I hope this helps dispel the myth that prepping is for tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. Emergency circumstances are a real possibility, and it's just logical sense that being prepared for them with a bit of time and money invested is a good idea. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you're new to the channel, I study the intersection of fun, futuristic technology with traditional outdoors experiences, so check out my other videos and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future useful videos. And lastly, if you found this video useful, hit the like button so YouTube promotes it to more people. I'll leave some Amazon affiliate links to some bug-out gear that I personally use, so check that out or any of the other links if you want to help out the channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next video.